What is Dental Year? Dental Year is the leading marketing app in dentistry. Created by marketers, this resourceful platform helps your dental practice in a variety of ways. Content inspiration, real-time marketing ideas, tips on ROI with your current methods, fresh resources, and lots more.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Buzz. So stoked you could join us. We got a super special guest, an episode for you today. Ryan Keener, welcome buddy. How are you?
Good to be on. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for jumping on board. Ryan is a senior vice president of the healthcare unit at Nexa. And for anyone who doesn't know, Nexa provides 24/7 answering support for tons of businesses, specifically focused in healthcare and dental. So Ryan, before we jump into kind of marketing trends, ideas, recommendations, everything we're going to talk about, give us an overview, if you can, please, for the audience members, of what Nexa is and the value it provides for dental practices.
Sure. Yeah, so thanks for that intro. Yeah, we're a 24/7, 365 telephone answering service and virtual receptionist service. So we answer for all kinds of businesses, but my business unit, we focus exclusively on the medical industry. And so we're answering phones 24/7 for dental offices as well as other ambulatory practices. And so typically a customer will engage us if they need help answering their phones, either after hours or overflow during the day, or kind of a combination of both. And lately, a lot of what we're doing is scheduling on behalf of our dental clients. With the Great Resignation and COVID and all that stuff, and how hard it is to hire these days, a lot of our customers are asking us to schedule directly within their EHR system because they're unable to staff their offices the way they were able to prior to the pandemic.
Beautiful. And the most important thing is just capturing that lead, right? Because isn't there something like 30 or 35% of people who call a business like they never call back? I'm not sure exactly what that stat is, right?
Yeah, I've heard, depending on the industry or the end market, it could be anywhere from 35% upwards of 70% of first-time buyers won't call back or leave a voicemail. So if you're doing marketing and you're out there online, podcast, radio, whatever it is you're doing to drive traffic to your business, if you're not answering that phone call, you're certainly missing out on opportunities.
I never could figure that out. It's like these amazing offices, incredible clinicians, great teams, doing the CEs, going to the conferences, getting the CEREC machines, doing everything possible to have the most successful dental practice. Like, I'm talking to the nth degree, clinically, marketing, aesthetically, everything. And they don't answer the phone. I cannot figure this out, dude. How is this even possible? Like, it is, by the way, like, it's all the office. Like, I don't want to say every office, but I cannot tell you how many times I'll either call a client or a practice and it goes to an answer machine. What's the rationale? Do you think there's not an understanding of the importance, or do you think like most businesses don't feel like people are shopping for their services at certain hours? What do you think it is?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's different from industry to industry. I think within healthcare specifically and within the dental world, I think that if you're a dentist, you're focusing on your core competency, which is to be a dentist. And I think oftentimes some of the administrative things kind of fall to the back burner, or they're just taken for granted as things that just should happen. But the reality, as we know, and as you just alluded to, you call your doctor's office or your dentist's office at any given time, and you can be on hold for 3, 4, 5 minutes if they answer at all. The other challenge is that nowadays, consumers and patients, they want to be kind of catered to. So I think as dental practices, as medical practices, you really have to meet your patients where they are. And so if that's online, you've got to be there, willing to engage with them online, whether that be through web chat or something else like we offer. If you have patients who are reaching out to you on text, you need to be able to respond back via text. If patients are reaching out to you at 6 o'clock at night, you need to have a mechanism to respond to them. So that's kind of where we come in. So Brett, I don't know what the answer is, what the why is, but I know it's been a pervasive problem for a long time.
Yeah. And there was some, I think we were talking earlier about some like the top consumer gripes or something in most industries. Like, what are those top gripes that consumers have?
Yeah, I think I know I used to follow this Consumer Reports report every year, and I haven't in a number of years, but I think nowadays they look at it industry specific. But
Okay.
within the top few is always not getting a person on the phone. And I don't know if you recall that Chase Bank commercial that they made where the person calls and it's like, "Hello, thank you for calling Chase Bank. How may I help you?" And they're like, "Agent." "Hey, thank you for calling Chase Bank. This is Ryan. How may I help you?" They're like, "Hey, oh, this is a real person?" And then they get all excited. It just illustrates the fact that
That's
people hate
hilarious.
dealing with an IVR and people hate dealing with, phone trees and that sort of thing. And when they pick up the phone, if it's important enough for them to pick up the phone and call, they want somebody there to answer it.
Yeah, in dental, I mean, it's so important. Like a lot of businesses, especially in healthcare. But when you call a dental practice and there's someone who answers, even if they say, "We're so busy, I got to put you on hold." Oh, okay, you're busy. That means your people like you. Or can I get your number? Or even if there's a recognition of it, right? And so even if they say, "Hey, we're answering the phone on behalf of Dr. So and so," and there's transparency there, however you want to frame this or do the scripting. And a lot of our clients use a scheduling widget with Next Health, which is amazing, or maybe they want a text or an email or something. But if you can answer that phone and schedule for them on the widget, or just take their information and call them back, it's such a great first touch,
Yeah,
right? That
agreed.
first engagement, like it's so nice to have that human element, especially for dental practice. Like this is, we recommend before we start doing any paid ads or social media postings or working on a new website for any new client, we kind of like, we're not the scheduling institute. This is a practice management company that actually calls offices and trains teams. We just like try to figure out like, okay, what is your desired call to action, right? Is it a text? Is it a phone call? Is it a booking? And usually it's a phone call, right? And so if that's the case, are you answering the phone, right?
Right.
And so it's such a huge initiative, and it should just be top of the list. So I want to thank you, Ryan, and the Nexa team, because for years as an agency, we've been looking for a referral source for this. Like we've been trying to find someone, because all of our clients are like, we need a service. We need a service. We need, like, a couple of them we were working for other people with other people for years in terms of the calling service. That's great. But most offices, they don't have someone. And if someone calls on a Friday, they're like, oh, someone will get to it on Monday. What happens if it was an emergency? What happens if it was a new patient lead that you lost, right? What happens if it was an existing patient that actually wanted to reschedule their appointment for Monday, and now you have a block, an empty chair there? So either way, whatever that is costing them to capture that lead, it's clearly money well spent.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I think you said a couple of things that I want to dig in on a little bit. One of them is just answering the phone is enough to build trust with the consumer or the patient who just found you online or wherever they found you. Just answering the phone, delivering a good first impression. You never get a second chance at a first impression. If you can answer the phone, be polite, be cordial, and collect their information. Generally, most consumers will check that box off their list of things to do today to schedule a dental appointment, right? Nobody's exactly thrilled to go call 12 dentists and try and schedule an appointment. But so if you answer the phone and get their information, generally that shopping experience is probably going to stop there. Then if you want to take it a step further, certainly we can do form fills and patient intake forms and that sort of thing, or scheduling an appointment. And that's kind of the home run and sort of the soup to nuts. If we can deliver that first great impression, get their information, qualify them as a patient, and schedule them, that's generally a home run. And we can do any or as little or as much of that as our customers want. And so, yes, to your point, if you're going to spend money out there on ads and driving volume to your practice, you're kind of wasting it if you're not answering the phone.
Beautiful.
You're certainly letting opportunities slip through the cracks.
Right. And on average, how many rings does it take until someone from Nexa answers the phone at the practice?
We're roughly 3 rings. Obviously, we have volume trends that kind of ebb and flow, but for the most part, we're averaging 3 rings.
That's great. I feel like that would be a cool name of like a book or like a podcast, like 3 rings.
Right, that's right. Three rings to more customers.
All right.
Within 3.
Speaking of just like stealth mode marketing and branding and everything. So you got some nice swag on. You got an Under Armour shirt with the Nexa logo. And I just got to say, Under Armour, whatever it is, what happened with the brand and what's going on with the brand, I still like I think it's a great company. Kevin Plank is a genius entrepreneur, great founder, and they did amazing stuff, right? But there's a great story how they like made it based on like one swing of the bat with an ad. Like when he started Under Armour, he kind of like bet the farm on like a full page ad in ESPN magazine. And that was
right?
like, yeah, and that was the catalyst to like get Under Armour on the map and generate sales and brand. It was like a one hit. Like they were kind of like, this is gonna work or we're done. And I love hearing those stories of the vision and the mentality of marketing decisions that were made, and then like for these like brilliant behemoth companies, they could be even a startup, like, but in all these different spaces, I really love that thought process. Like I was listening to this other pod. Oh, go on. Yeah.
I was going to say, did you happen to, and this might be correlated to that ESPN ad,
Yeah.
but the movie Any Given Sunday
with
Jamie Foxx. No, not that one. This was when Under Armour was first coming out, first getting on the map. Jamie Foxx, Al Pacino, LL Cool J's in it. Cameron Diaz, but all of the guys in this fictitious pro football league are wearing Under Armour. And man, I tell you, I was I guess maybe a senior teenager, but I was still a teenager at the time. And I remember seeing that movie, and it was like, the next day I was in Dick's Sporting Goods buying an Under Armour shirt. And that was back when they only had, they didn't have all the different lines. They just had all the kind of skin tight,
those like dry fit long sleeves.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one.
Yeah. And so, and they're doing the same thing now. I mean, they got The Rock has his own thing going. I mean, they hire some great ambassadors, and it's a really cool company. Are there any other clothing companies or brands out there that you think are great in terms of what they do for marketing?
Yeah, from a marketing perspective, for me, part of marketing is coming through on the other end and delivering a great product or service.
Love that.
And for me, Lululemon, I think their quality. I used to shun them early on because of how expensive they are, and then I bought a pair of their golf shorts, and I was like, all right, I'm never buying another pair of golf shorts again. These are awesome. I also like Hoka 1-1, which is a running shoe. They kind of came, I don't even know when they came on the scene, but as a runner, I remember seeing their shoes just because they're very loud and vibrant, bright colors, and asking other runners, hey, what are those? Where'd you get them? And then you'd get these rave reviews about how comfortable they are. And so I've never had another trail running shoe since I bought my first pair of Hokas, and they're fantastic. Hoka, Hoka, yeah, great brand, great quality, and reasonable too for that space.
Everything we do is rooted in optimism. So I've never heard of Hoka before. This is unbelievable. And so what a cool brand. And this is so stealth mode. So if you look at their website, hoka.com, hoka.com, great video playing at the top. Clearly the messaging is targeted towards runners, being fast runners, and Mach 5, born to be fast, an undeniably snappy ride designed to propel you forward. Boom. So you guys, everyone watching this or listening to this podcast, like, go to websites like this, find inspiration outside of dentistry for your dental websites. The video, the color palette, the messaging, the typeface, and then their call to action buttons. Shop women's, shop men's. This is what they want. They know people want to shop. It's not, on the bottom of their website, it's the story, affiliate programs. But right now, what do they want to happen? Shop men's or women's. What's the call to action on your dental website? Is it book now, call now, text us? So it gets super specific. We like to say an audience of one. If you're trying to speak to everyone, you're speaking to no one. Okay, that's the case. In Hoka, Ryan, this is a great experience, great example. I feel like I got to get a pair of these shoes.
They're like I mean, people will say, fanatics will say it's like walking on clouds or running on clouds.
Wow. Unbelievable. Well, I love hearing about brands for the first time. And we're going to go on a little detour here. I'm just clicking on their Instagram. Their Instagram username is Hoka, Hoka. So there's continuity across this. I know this is obviously for these big brands, but maybe when Hoka started, they came up with the company. Maybe they didn't have the URL or the username for these social media profiles. So anyone watching or listening, dental practices, make sure to wrap up your good domain names and your great Instagram usernames and have continuity. I still can't believe this is actually worse. Okay, I don't want to say worse. Let's say second. So not answering the phone, that's brutal. Number two, I'm on the phone a lot with offices, not new offices. Like they've been around for decades. They don't have the actual domain name of their practice name. I don't even know how it's possible. Sometimes it's actually available for $8 on GoDaddy. Great. Other times it's clearly not. So get the domain name, get your usernames on Instagram. And not only do you need this for marketing your practice, but it's common sense. When you turn around and sell your practice, someone's going to want that IP, that intellectual property, right? So I love looking at these types of digital footprints. They're inspiring. They're amazing. They got 756,000 followers, great content. By the way, the content on their Instagram, you guys should check this out. It's so good because they're showing like the sizzle, not the steak, right? They're showing emotion and great photography. There's a combination of video and just great multimedia content. So, dude, thank you for sharing that example. I love that.
Yeah, of course.
I wanted to just throw this little book mention. I'm reading this book called Find Your Red Thread by Tamsin Webster. And I was just reading about basically like speaking to your audience. Like if you speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. That's where I kind of got that from because it's such a good book. But it's really important, I feel. Even if you're not a quote unquote marketer or in sales, anyone who's in dental, either the dentist owner or team members, always be like reading a book on something, whether it's marketing or business development. I just feel like being in that headspace of constantly learning is such a hack. And I know people operate different ways, but someone writes a book, like this is their life's work, right? And they've condensed years of research, client examples, client success into a book. I mean, the ideas you get from some of these books or podcasts are game changing. So I know everyone listening or watching is into kind of learning and growing. And so inspire the rest of your team to check out some of these marketing books, especially the newer ones, because the older ones get dated really quick now, but really important, I feel. Ryan, you got any local restaurants or kind of local businesses in terms of like maybe a customer experience are good, or any maybe places, restaurants you visited on travel recently that kind of stick out?
Yeah, I would say actually the one that comes to mind, I was just there a few weeks ago, is the Mission in Scottsdale, Arizona. They have one in North Scottsdale and then one kind of near Old Town. And it is just knock your socks off. Fantastic Mexican food. Best Mexican food I've ever had in my life. Now, coming from the East Coast and being in Virginia, it's kind of few and far between to find a really good Mexican place, but I did live out in Scottsdale for about a year, and that was the best I found out there. And from the second you walk in, the total ambiance is perfect. No detail has been left out, and they come through on the food. The food is just fantastic. The duck empanadas, if you're ever there, yeah, they're to die for.
Okay, I'm not joking. This is not I'm not seriously not joking. So you're talking about this Mission place, never heard of it. I love Mexican food. So I pull up their website. This is no joke. I go to their website, themissionaz.com, and I'm just looking at the website. I look down at the pictures. I look at the picture of this lamb or whatever's on their menu. And literally I sense myself getting hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, get a reservation because sometimes they book out pretty far in advance.
So what this website, so I was prepped, Ryan talking about the empanada, and so that got me like kind of like salivating a little bit. But I'm not joking. The website literally made me hungry through their imagery, through their pictures, through the words they're using. And so if there's a way to give that emotion on your dental website through beaming healthy smiles, patients interacting with you guys, your team at the office, showcasing your dentistry, like sharing social proof of patients that have gone and gotten services done at your practice, like you need to capture this in some way, however you do this, through video, through imagery, through words. And it's different for every dental practice. I'm not implying we're able to do that with every client. That's what we aspire to. But if you could tap into that emotion, because these people, like there's people looking for a new office. Who do they trust? Who do they go to for dental implants? Where do they get their smile makeover? Where do they bring their kid for their first dental visit? Right? Where do they get Invisalign? And if you could be super, super specific on the messaging and tap into the emotion that you're trying to have that visitor feel, you'll have a 10x in your marketing success, and you'll have Nexa answering way more phone calls for you. And so I really believe that you give good examples with your marketing.
Well, they definitely have left an impression, especially the mission. That's a must do if you're out there.
Yeah, Scottsdale is a great spot. We were there. This is a couple years ago. I've told the story before, but it's actually such a good story. I could tell you this again because it ties into like you and I, what we're talking about today. So we were in Arizona a few years ago. PK, our DP, Jack Ringer, one of my best buddies, he's also a dentist. We were there for some conference. We're filming some stuff, and oh yeah, so we go to Mastro's Steakhouse for dinner. Like after we wrap, let's go out for a fat meal tonight. So we go out to Mastro's, had like ridiculous dinner, like it's a 10 out of 10, right? The sizzling steak, the ambiance, the service, it's all across the board. They got everything, right? So the next day, we're at the hotel hanging out, and my phone's ringing. It's a Scottsdale number. I'm like, who's calling from Arizona? I pick up the phone. It's like the manager from Mastro's, just calling to see how the meal was. Huh?
Yep.
What? No, not asking if we were going to show up for the dinner the day before, making sure we were going to guarantee the resident. He was calling to see how the experience was. How was the service? How was the meal you get? Not before or till this day afterwards, anyone ever done that at a restaurant.
I agree. And so what's funny is when I went to the Mission a few weeks ago, the following night we went to Mastro's and I got that same call and I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are just on it.
Oh my gosh, you got that
Just
same
on
call.
it.
You
I
went to the
did.
Mastro's in Scottsdale.
Yeah, we went to, so the Mastro's we went to was in North Scottsdale. The Mission we went to was in Old Town. But either way, I mean, to get a phone call the day after from a restaurant just to see how everything went, I mean, that was incredible. I mean, and as you said, it's like from the minute you get there till the time you leave, you're happy, you're having fun, eating good food. Wait staff was incredible. And then you get that call. It's like that, those little extras are meaningful.
I tell you, it's inspiring. I'm inspired as a marketing person and doing our brands and obviously helping clients with their marketing. It's like these are the ideas that we all should be implementing, right? Like someone comes to your dental office for a new patient exam, or they got dental implants completed. We hope you're calling the next day. How are you feeling? Thanks for coming in. Was it all you expected? Do you need anything from us? Like these types of things, this is what it's about, right? Because you turn, like we're doing, like we're raving fans, right? Like for whether the sneakers, the Mission, Mastro's, it's not just marketing. It's like, why be in business if you don't want to do this type of stuff? Like, it's like you have long-term success and people will become raving fans for you. And you'll literally tap into scalable word of mouth marketing, right? These are the things, Ryan, that like all businesses, especially like businesses that rely on word of mouth, should aspire to. And like dental offices need to do this stuff daily.
Yeah, it's the little extras that go a long way.
Yeah. It's amazing stuff. Dude, this is great. I love talking to you about this stuff. And I feel like we got to keep this short and sweet because we provided so much value. And for me personally, I got a ton of notes here that I want to implement right away. Plus I got to find some good Mexican food tonight for dinner because I'm just craving it right now. It won't be as good as the mission, but got to find some good Mexican food. Did you want to share anything else with us in terms of Nexa offerings? It's a 24/7 by the service, right?
Yeah. We're 24/7, 365. We can provide just your standard after hours emergency answering services, or we can do kind of a full scale virtual receptionist, patient intake, and appointment scheduling service. So we really try to meet our customers where they are. So if they just need help after hours, great. If they need help during the day to handle their overflow calls because their admin staff is overwhelmed, great. If they can't keep or find admin staff and they want a total outsource solution, we can do that as well. So check us out at nexa.com. And if you have questions, I'm always happy to help.
Ryan, that's genius. Thank you so much for sharing that. For anyone who's on the fence, reach out to Nexa. You could beta test this during lunch hours, after 5 p.m., weekends. It is a no-brainer. If you capture just a handful of new patient leads on a monthly basis, it'll be money well spent, and you'll have way more growth and revenues to do other things at your practice. Having the proper call service is a must, and the answer is clearly Nexa.
Thanks for having me on, Brad.
Ryan, it is a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for the inspiration. I got to get some Hoka shoes. And next time, obviously, if we're all together in Arizona for a conference or something, I don't know. I mean, we going for Mexican food? We going for steak?
Yeah, I know, right?
What do we do? We got to do what? We got to figure that out.
We'll have to do both.
We'll do both. Third option, we'll do both.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Thank you so much,
right.
everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Buzz. If you implement some of the ideas we spoke about today, providing emotion on your website for these new patients to feel and experience, and if you call patients after they visit your practice, you'll without question be a wizard of Buzz. Take care.
If you're looking for more reach, engagement, and conversion with your dental practice marketing, download the Dental Year app today.